Hi everyone, it's Shel from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part of the Team Tiny February 2023 hop, and the challenge for this month was to use either a background stamp or a background stencil. And I chose a background stencil. So we're going to do two different backgrounds in this video, and we're going to be using two different mediums to create similar but different looks. The first one we're going to do is using Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils. This stencil is from the Rabbit Hole Designs, and the paper is from Hobby Lobby. I believe it's from their paper studio pack, and it measures 4 by 6 inches. So I picked out a couple colors of the Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils. And you see here, I just picked out the first one, and I'm picking random circles and diamonds, tracing them and adding a little bit of shading to the bottom. So there's 3 different ways that I'm going to try the background and just with the watercolor pencils to see, doing different steps with them, which will make sense in a second, what kind of results they give. So the first one that I'm going to do, like I said, was trace it, add a little bit of shading to the bottom, and then add some clean water to my brush and pull out that shading from the bottom towards the top while the stencil is still on top of it. So I thought this would be a great way to do it, but then once I move the stencil, you realize that the water kind of seeped underneath of the stencil. I didn't have as much control over it as I thought I would. So I just continue with that. I move the stencil down because the piece of paper is larger than the stencil. So I move it down, add a little bit more, and then continue to keep the stencil on and then watercolor. The next color that I choose to do, I decided to do things a little bit different. I go ahead and still outline the shapes, add a little bit of coloring to the bottom, but I'm going to remove the stencil for the watercolor part of it. This way, I have a little bit more control over where the water goes, and hopefully the water doesn't seep underneath and kind of smudge. So this is my favorite out of the 3 ways that I did the shapes for the background. So you can see I move the stencil down a little bit and tracing a couple more, adding that shading, and then I will take the stencil off and then we'll watercolor and fill in those shapes. The reason that I like it the best is that I feel like it was the cleanest out of all 3 of them, but it also gave the nicest shade. So I guess it all depends on what you're going for. The first one, if you don't want perfect, I think it's really, really good. You can definitely use that method. The second one, if you want more vibrant colors, I would definitely suggest this as the way you do it, as opposed to the third way. The third way was just tracing the shapes and then without shading any of it, just pull the color from the edges. This gave it a really, really soft look. So you can see I did add a little bit of shading to some of these, but then you can see the circles and the diamonds that I did towards the end don't have any shading in them. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of clean water and then touch the edges of the shape and pull the color in. So you're going to get 3 different looks in this background. And again, it was just because I've never done this before and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. So the first one gave a little bit of a messy look because the shapes were not exactly round or the edges weren't exactly crisp. The second one, the edges were much more crisp and the color was very vibrant because I had put some shading down into it. So there was already color for me to use without touching the sides. And the third way, the color was very, very light based versus the outline. So if you're looking for a bold outline but a very, very faint color inside, you can I would definitely do the third way, which is just tracing and then touching the edges. You can also, if you want a very bold line and then just want a little bit more color inside, you can use the same color pencil and then just add a little bit of water to your brush and then take the brush to the tip of the pencil and then go ahead and watercolor in. But I actually think that I like number 2 for the vibrancy, but number 3, I really like the bold versus the light inside. So you guys are going to have to tell me what you think. What do you like the best? The one, the little bit of messier, 2, the brighter, or 3, the dark outline with the lighter inside. So let me know down in the comments which way you like best. So we're going to switch to the second background, which is traditionally the way that we go ahead and use the stencils, is just ink blending. So I'm going to pick a couple different colors of Distress Oxide that kind of matched the colors that I used of the Inktense watercolor pencils. I go ahead and put down a very light layer of the first time, and this is just 110-pound cardstock. You could go ahead and use watercolor cardstock with this. I really do like using my Distress Oxides with watercolor paper. I don't know, it just gives it a different feeling. Or Bristol Smooth cardstock is my absolute favorite to use with this, but this was just 110-pound. So I'm going to use Peacock Feathers, Uncharted Mariner, Prize Ribbon, and then the last one is Villainous Potion. That purple is Villainous Potion. So I wasn't sure how much color I was going to need, so I just kind of put a little bit of light color down, went down with the first layers, and then went back with the colors again to get them to blend a little bit more and to get them to get a little bit more vibrant. So while you're watching me ink blend, I want to tell you a little bit about Team Tiny. We are a group of YouTubers that come together once a month with a different theme to try to actively grow our channels and challenge ourselves. So if you guys are interested in joining us, please hit the link below. I will leave the link to the Facebook page. We are open to anybody who has less than 1,000 subscribers. Once you have 1,000 subscribers, you will graduate from Team Tiny. We always do hashtag hops, so make sure you click on the hashtag in the title of the video and you can see everybody who is participating in the hops videos. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video. Bye.